how Carson and Jackson Wiener are making over $500,000 a month only wholesaling vacant land. What is up, guys? Zach in here, and I'm with Carson and Jackson Wiener, and they have made over $500,000, $523,000 last month, to be exact, wholesaling land. And this is a special video because there's not many people we could find making this much money wholesaling land. And I'm excited to break down exactly how Carson and Jackson are doing it, and most importantly, how you can do the same exact thing. So, guys, welcome on.
Thank you. Thank you for having us on today, Zach, also.
Awesome.
And then just to give everyone like an intro, I'm Jackson, and that's Carson.
There we go. So nice to finally talk to you over a video. So I know we've talked before, but I guess my first question is, what's going on with the land? Like, everyone's talking about wholesaling land, and you know, these guys and gals are popping up making all this money with land. So I guess my question is, like, how did you guys get started wholesaling land?
So this is actually like kind of interesting story. So it was my junior year of college going into my senior year. Carson was a freshman going to a sophomore. I was trying to wholesale houses at the time, just mass texting. I'd try houses, land, anything that was in the list. One day I got a text back from a builder, and he said, I'll buy anything in the zip code for $40,000, any lot, right? So I called him. I'm like, what the hell do you mean lot, right? I've never heard of this before. So I just sent out a text campaign. It was in 33993 Cape Coral. So I just pulled a list of every lot. I didn't even know how to filter or anything like that. And I mass texted them off. And I said, hey, I'll pay 30 to 35K for address, right? And I got like 6 or 7 deals in a week. So I put them in escrow. I still didn't know what the hell I was doing, but I was like, Carson, I think I just made 40 grand in a week. Like, I don't really, like, we never made more than $200 in our life in a single week, right? So at this point, we're like, okay, like, this could be a real thing. We formed our company, JW Light Homes, on July 1st, and it's been the same thing ever since, right? It's just find a builder, try to lock it up. Our first 6 months, we did 81 deals for $451,000, and this was off maybe $1,500 a month in marketing. But at that point, we kind of got the shiny object syndrome, because I'm like, okay, how far can we take this? We were kind of doing, okay, we do a 40K month and a 60K month and a 30K. And like, you know how wholesaling goes in like waves a little bit based on big deals and closings getting pushed. So I'm looking on YouTube. I'm like, how do we scale this? And I see you, and I see Tyson, I see other people doing houses. There's nothing for land. So I'm like, maybe this is just like a side hustle. Let's try Airbnbs. So of that 450, we lost it all on Airbnb arbitrage. We were very much extremists. So we get 3 in Scottsdale. We're paying interior designers $10K each one. We got a $17K course. We're eating the rents. We buy out of
each one.
So we lost all of our money, right? And then we do the next thing that everyone else does when they start to make money and they're 19 years old and 22, 21 years old, is we moved to Miami and started to try to sell a course, right? So we spend all this time filming a course. We do all this. And in December, we made all that money, right? And I'm like, we got to do some write-offs. So I learned how to do mail outs. And this is actually funny talking to you about this. We did, I think it was called like the ROS postcard. I think you and your dad did it, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I'm on the phone with Open Letter Marketing. I'm like, listen, these are not houses. I can't do the house offers. I need to put my own offers. So finally they let me put my own offers. I put together this crazy, just like formula where it was like assessed value plus purchase price divided by 3 plus zip code value. Is ridiculous. And these offers were all over the place. And I just got like $4,500 in these postcards at the end of December, because I was like, let's just see, I want to get a write-off in. Right. So at the time, we're not even barely wholesaling, maybe 2 days a week. We're doing like 20, 30 grand a month. We got a little bit saved up, but our expenses obviously go crazy in Miami. And like 2 days after his birthday, I think it was the 25th of January, got a call back from one of those mail outs in Jacksonville. We'd never done anything outside of Cape Coral at the time. The 80 deals we did were all Cape Coral. This lady in Jacksonville, she's like, hey, I want to sell these lots, right? And I'll accept your offer. And it was $40,000. I looked it up. It's assessed value at $10,000. They didn't even have addresses. We've never dealt with that before. So I just like, we looked at each other. We're like, well, Cape Coral's assessed value is similar, and like, I think they're worth more. So let's put it under contract, right? So I put it under contract. We start calling agents. That ended up being like a $160,000 profit deal between the 4 lots in Jacksonville. Woo! So at that point, we bought out of our Airbnbs, shut down all coaching, everything like that. We're like, we're going all in on this.
This is kind of when the lights turned on.
And then
like, holy crap,
March of 2023, we're about 7-8 months into it. We finally now are out of college, no Airbnbs, nothing else to focus on. We did $299,000 in profit that month. That was me and Carson alone, no employees, nothing. We did about 25 to 30 deals. That was mostly because of that huge deal in Jacksonville, right? May, we did about 300. That was off 37 deals, right? So at that point, we had some acquisition guys, stuff like that. June was a huge month for us. But at the time, we were trying to kind of scale with employees. We had 10 people we had like a 1,600 square foot, like little condo in Miami, like those ones that you see online and stuff like that. We had one of those. We got the couch out of there. We had 10 people working out of there. And Carson and I were great at making money, but we were new to it. We were terrible at business. So we had 10, 12, 13 people working out of our apartment there. And we were tracking every deal on a whiteboard. We had no CRM. We had no tracking method. I'm paying everybody out on Zone Wire. So it was just an absolute nightmare. So at that point, we kind of said, okay, we can't do this any longer. We cleaned house. We started back, him and I. We built out systems and everything we built our own CRM. We did cadences, SOPs, everything like that. So then 2024 was kind of our breakout year to where we were able to do 1.7 million in profit off of assignment fees. So at that point, we were like, okay, what if we can? So we had someone reach out. His name's Grayson, and Grayson, we knew his sister in university, and she was like, my little brother wants to learn from you. And we're like, absolutely not. We found a gold mine. We're not teaching anybody, right? It's like a hidden thing. Like no one knows about this land wholesaling. We're not doing it. And he paid us for a phone call. He's like, I'll give you $2,000 for a phone call. I'm 18 years old. I want to learn. Right. So we're like, all right, Grayson, let's do it. So we showed Grayson kind of what we knew. We had that course film from 2022. We gave him access to, and he ended up making deals, but he didn't have builders. So we did like $100,000 in JV deals, joint venture partnership deals with Grayson. So now we're like, what if we could build a platform where everyone can share builders and that's kind of like our story. We did fall like this is full land wholesaling. It's not development at all. So I don't want to touch on it too much. But because we are finding so many lots, we had some deals fall in our laps. So we're actually building a $16 million and a $7.5 million house right now. Those will both be completed. One of them late this year, one of them February of next year. And then we have 2 more of those that are going to be coming up. And those are just going to be spec homes that we just are building to flip right now. So that's kind of, in a nutshell, elevator pitch, kind of Carson and I's story so far.
Dude, I love it, man. I mean, you guys are developing some pretty crazy stuff. It's not wholesaling land. It kind of is. It's not the same time. So that's definitely for a whole different day.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you try to explain this to me. I'm like, I get it.
Yeah.
But it's like very high level, and it's very ballsy, right? You're going out here. I mean, that deal in Marco Island, where do you in on that one for?
Which one? So they're both in Marco.
What's the big one? What's the big one?
The big one, so it was listed for like 4.9. And then
the teardown house.
And they dropped it to 4.5. I think they dropped it to 3.9. And so we got a deal by trying to wholesale land, and it was a $1 million lot.
Yeah.
Right. And it was probably worth about 1.5. We couldn't flip it. I called every agent with a waterfront lot before we tried to sell it. And they all said it's a good deal. It's a good deal. I showed them my development numbers. So we ended up closing on that lot. One of the agents I called said, hey, here's an on-market property for about 4 million right now. They would take less. So I offered 2.6. They took 2.9. So we bought it for 2.9. All in building carry costs back in realtors. It's going to be about 4.2 to 4.3 on the back end. So our break even with everything with carry costs and the investor money and stuff is about 8 to 9 million. And then our resale right now, we're listed at 16, which we understand is a little high, but there's nothing like it, right? It's open water view. It's a huge house in Marco. So I would imagine, like, I find it hard to believe we want to get 1,700 to 2,000 a foot on that. If you start to look at the open water comps in Marco and Naples with no bridges, and you can put a 100-foot yacht back there and stuff like that. So if we can get that 2,000 a foot, we're at about 12, 13 million. We have a third profit share in that deal without putting money up. And then the investors have 66% of the deal there, plus their initial, plus their carry costs.
So we expect about 4 to 4.5 million in profit on that. And all in, it's going to take about 24 months from start to finish.
Dude, that's ballsy.
Yeah,
I get sweaty just thinking about that stuff.
Yeah.
Specific on the wholesaling land part, I mean, it is, but it isn't at the same time. So let's talk about that massive deal you did in Jacksonville, just really quick, getting started right. Like, let's make it like brass tacks easy, right? So you made 160 grand from that.
Yes.
Awesome. So you found it by, I'm assuming, what, texting?
No, it was direct mail.
This was direct mail.
Direct mail, yeah.
Yep.
So I actually, those are my postcards, but I don't know.
I know. Do you want to? I don't
want to get in the drama of it.
I don't know if we can share a screen on this, but I made a YouTube video on that deal, and you can actually see the postcard, and it's the same exact one that the ROS were, and it had our company logo, our old logo, and it had the price on it and stuff. So yeah, that was
rights to it, but like more or less. But okay, so you sent the postcard out.
Yep.
Awesome. How did you find a buyer specifically in Jacksonville? Because I bet you didn't have.
This was actually a unique deal. This was the first time we ever did it. And I remember this, and I remember this for the rest of my life. So we had it at 37,000 for 4 parcels, right? They had no addresses. So we found it on the appraiser, and I call an agent. The agent says, hey, it's worth like 180 to 200, right? Another agent, same thing, 180 to 200.
We're like, no way. So we called like 5 of them.
And then one of them's like, I'll give you 100 grand, right? So we're now at the point where it's like, okay, I just had 4 people tell us that it's worth 180, but this guy will give us 100. And at that point, I had about $40,000 in stocks that I would just put away $2K a week as we started to make our money and stuff in the beginning. I sold the stocks, we closed on all 4, and then listed it with an agent. And then one by one, they started to sell over the next month.
But they all sold within 45 days of us closing on them.
So that was the first time we've ever done that. And that was a big risk for us to take because, like, keep in mind, like, we were deal by deal to pay the rent at that point. Miami is a lot very expensive.
And
like,
keep this in mind too, is we sold them as fast as possible because we literally put all of our money into the deal. We probably could have got an extra 10, 15% on these.
Yeah.
Okay. I trust me, I'm all for this. Let's reel it back. Okay. Big shots. Okay. We're not selling $17 million real estate for the average listener here. You know, they're like, oh my gosh, this is okay. So let's go back to the fundamental parts because you're really good at teaching people, you know, the fundamentals, getting some money and then going back out there, right? Because like you're really good at the wholesaling land part, but you're doing all these crazy things. I love it.
This is kind of what we teach everybody too once they make their first deal is, and this is exactly what we have always done, and this is what we still do to this day, is once you make your first deal, you're going to do 4 days a week doing this exactly, right? Is you're going to go and you're just going to call all the builders on Zillow. You're going to look for 10 newly built homes.
Whoa. Let's go back here. How do I find builders on Zillow?
Okay, so you go to Zillow.com, you type in houses for sale, year built 2024 or newer, right? So what this is going to show you is it's just going to show you all these little red dots all over the place, right? These red dots are newly built homes. So you just look for a zip code with more than 10 newly built homes. That's all you need, right? Then you zoom in and you make sure the lots all look the same, right? If one lot's 7 acres and one lot's 1 acre, stay away. And if they're all just a big pile of D.R. Horton, 140-acre parcel that they built 400 homes, stay away. We want scattered newly built homes and 10 of them in a zip code. Once you find that, you just call up every single one. You can just search. The builder will say it right there, or it'll have an agent's number. It'll have the builder's number or the agent's number. Hey, Mr. Agent, I see you are listing the homes right here for Holiday Builders. I know you work with them. If I'm willing to pay you 3% every deal that I sell to them, what are they looking for and how much will they pay? Right. So at that point, they're going to give you a buy box. What these buy boxes will look like, we'll say 33993. We'll pay you $45,000 for anything on the zip code as long as it's not on a canal, has no wildlife, and it's not on a main road, right? So basically what that means is not on a highway. There's no protected owls, which is very seldom. And then there's
the tortoises. Don't get me started with the tortoises.
Oh, yeah, they're brutal. I can't say
the burrow tortoises, man.
It's brutal. So at that point, though, so once you have that buy box, your only job is to give as many offers as you can. Right? I don't care if you text. I don't care if you have cold caller VAs. I don't care if you're mailing to them. All your job is if you have a $45,000 buyer in place plus closing, how many times can I offer someone $40,000 for that criteria? Right? So if you're doing it 5,000 times a day, let's say between cold callers and mail and text messages, you're sending out 150,000, let's just say weekdays, 100,000 offers a month. What are the odds you can't get one person to say yes? Great. That's $5,000. What are the odds you can't get 2 people to say yes? That's $10,000. Whatever, we get 10 people to say yes, right? That's $50,000, right? So that's kind of the target. And then it's like, okay, you want to do $100,000 lot. Maybe you offer them 90, maybe you offer them 80. That's a $20,000 spread, right? So that is essentially wholesaling lands, right? You find the builder and then you just offer as many people as possible, less. Whoever says yes, that's your difference. You get the seller contract at a cheaper price than the buyer. You just send them both to the title company. You wait 3 to 4 weeks and you get paid out the difference, right? So,
and a lot of people get scared of sending out 5,000 text messages a day, right? But it's literally all with AI. You have an auto clicker. It sends out in like a minute or two. You're not actually sending out 5,000 texts a day. I think a lot of people get that misconception, but it's sending out the messages for you. And basically, again, breaking it down in simple terms, you need to get a contract and you need to get a builder. And then you email that to the title company and you get paid.
And it's crazy too with ChatGPT, which we didn't have when we started, is you can go on there right now and literally, Claude does this better than ChatGPT just because of the note taking. Is I'll go on Claude, it's either free or $10 a month, whatever it may be, and I say, give me the 500 counties in the United States that have the most builders in it. And now it gives me every single county. Give me the builders' names. Cool. Go on LinkedIn. Just text them all day, right? I just locked up 40 builders in a day, and it took me a Claude message in that, right? So that's one way you could do it. Another way, which is super, super easy to sell your deals, and I think a lot of people don't do this, and I don't know why, is every time we get a deal, even if I have a builder, the first thing I do is I call and I mail to all the neighbors, right? Because as a homeowner, the most annoying thing in the world, I'm driving over nails. I have construction next door. It's loud all day. I always give it to the neighbors, and probably I'd say 10 to 20% of our deals, the neighbors will take it, but they actually overpay, right? The next thing is like when someone buys a lot, right? Like a lot of these people are out-of-state owners, right? In like Florida, North Carolina, Tennessee, all these 0% state income tax lots went crazy. So a lot of these people own either more than one lot. They bought 2 or 3 and they were going to decide which one they're going to build on, or they bought it with their cousin, or they bought it with their brother, or their family member. So every time we do a deal, hey, if you give me someone else, I'll give you $500 at the closing. I'll give you $1,000 cash at the closing if you refer me to someone else. And then we linked properties, everybody. And probably I would say, I haven't done the actual data on this, but I would guess over half of our deals have either been someone owning more than one lot or their family members.
Last year we did $420,000 in revenue off of referrals, which are free. You just pay them out the $1,000.
And this is not someone owning 2 lots. This is I own a lot and I refer someone to Carson.
Just for our email and thank you note that we send to them.
Dude, that's awesome. Okay, wait. Okay, so we got to rewind this back. Okay,
yeah.
So you have the knowledge. I'm trying to get it out of there.
Yeah.
So okay, so I get it. You go to like I'm trying to understand your system because my system's different. But okay, so I get your system. So let's just talk. Okay, because most beginners are going to be like, I'm a little lost here.
Yeah.
So you're giving the great info, but we just got. I get more details in a couple things. So first and foremost, you found a builder.
Right.
Okay, cool. Do you just call them up? Is there an acquisitions department? Like how do you do like
every builder is going to be different. Some of them, when you go on Zillow, it will literally have Holiday Builders contact information.
Yes.
Some of them will have an agent. You call their agent. Some of them you just like, if I found a zip code, for an example, in Cape Coral, I could also just look up Cape Coral builders and it'll give me 10, 15, and I can just send them all the same email. Hey, I'm looking to bring people off market deals so that you guys can save money on your lots. I promise I'll never send you anything that's not lower than the lowest listing in the area. You'll save money with me. I'll make sure that I verify. I need your title company. I need your EMD. I need your closing date so I can directly match my contract with you. And I'm also not working for 100 people at once. You tell me what you want. Your title company goes in my seller contract because you're the only person I'm going to work for. Right.
And these builders have a land acquisition specialist too. So when you reach out to them, the land acquisition specialist is typically going to answer the phone. And if not, you can ask to speak to them. And then that's literally what they do all day for a living is they sit there with the buy boxes trying to acquire as many lots as they can to fill the quota for their company.
And I'm sure it's similar to this with houses too, but land is such a numbers game on the builder side, on the seller side, anything. So it's like if you can send out 20 builder emails a day, which literally takes 30 minutes to do, right? You just make an Excel sheet, copy paste from Zillow, and then copy paste emails, and then copy paste the email, right? If you can send out 20 a day, that's 600 emails a month to a builder. How many would say yes, right? So like, oh, maybe 10, maybe 20. It's like,
and you only need one builder.
Yeah,
we've made over 400,000 with one builder alone.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. Like, let's look at I don't know, Jupiter or Palm Beach Gardens area, right? Like, there's not 600 builders. There's not a lot.
So this is something that I've left out, right? So when you're finding these, which you'll kind of see when you're looking for the red dots and the zip codes, is we're never metro, right? So like you want to be like 45 minutes out of a metro. So like you're not Tampa, you're Cape Coral. You're not Palm Beach Gardens, you're Port St. Lucie. You're not Jacksonville, you're Palm Coast, right? So like you want to be like the best we've ever like experienced in markets is going to be, you want to be some proximity to the water, right? So like 30 to 45 minutes away from the water. And then you want to be 30 to 45 minutes out of a metro city. Right. So that's kind of the best thing to look for. And then your ideal price range for the lots is going to be anywhere from 20,000 to 120,000. So that's always kind of the price range you want to look for the lots. And then that newly built house range, if you want to look at the houses, it's going to be like 400,000 to 800,000.
And people are also like, you would be amazed how many lots these builders are actually buying. Like people think they're going to call these builders and they're going to be like, oh no, F off. Like I'm not buying anymore. You would be amazed if you see how many lots and houses that these big builders are buying. Like D.R. Horton purchased over 96,100 lots last year. And if you look in these little small zip codes that we're hitting, like there's this one zip code or there's this one city that we hit in that little city alone, every 90 days, there's over 1,000 lot sales. Yeah. There's over 1,000 lot sales in that one little city. We've done how many cities now? 70, 80 cities, 20 states throughout the country. And our students are doing basically everywhere. Like we have students crushing it out in Hawaii. We never even thought to go into that market. And there's builders everywhere out there.
Another thing is like everyone thinks you got to stick to Florida. Everybody tries Florida. Our 2 biggest markets in the community, this is some game for everybody that's trying land, Arkansas and Hawaii. So like my point is you can do this anywhere, right? You just need to find those little markets, right? Because everywhere has got somewhere that's booming, whether a Tesla factory goes up or Apple. It's like something is having people go with housing moving there. Find where the builders are going. The builders are going to be a year ahead of the market because it takes a year to build a house. So that's why you want to talk to the builders because they'll tell you, okay, I remember like 2 years ago, hey, Port St. Lucie's is filling up, but we're going to Palm Bay next, right? So then we're in Palm Bay a year before we see these red dots because the builders have to build the homes, right?
So they'll tell you almost, hey, get into this market now before everyone else does.
Well, I'll tell you this too. I don't know if you use this. You can tell this to everyone, but the U-Haul migration index is one of the best things I've always found. What's coming in, what's going out. But I really liked what you put on the realtor thing. I've never done this before for land, but it's like, I'll never give you something above what a similar listing is. That's
ever. That's the we do. So when we teach comping and when we do comping, and even every acquisition manager, we don't comp off sales. We comp off listings because there's so many land sales in all the markets we do. It's because, and that's the easiest way to do it is if the lowest listing is 30,000, you can go up to 22, right? That's it.
This is how we got into the luxury development in the first place. Yeah. This is how we did our biggest deals. And this is how we've had repeat investors and builders for years and years is we've always paid attention to this and think of it as if you're the buyer. Think of it as if you're the builder. Why would you want to buy the lot? You want to buy it if it's cheaper than anything else you can find on the market. You want to buy it if it's the best deal. You want to buy it if you're the only one getting sent it. So that's why we don't do on-market properties, because if it's an on-market property with 300 views, 300 other builders and investors have already seen that deal. They don't want it, clearly, right? Or they would make an offer on it. We bring it off-market. We bring it cheaper than anything else they can find. And that's why they're happy to A, work with us, and B, do it over and over again.
So, and that's what's interesting too, is like, this is probably one of the most frustrating things is like a wholesaler is when someone will send me a lot and they'll say, we want $30,000, right? And I'll say, okay, well, the lot next door is identical and listed for 25. And they'll say, well, you can build a house for 200 and sell for 300. And I'm like, yeah, but I could also just buy the lot next door for cheaper and do the same thing, right? So like, that's the most important thing is so because wholesaling land is like grown quite a bit in probably the last 12 months is like, we can all agree here. Builders acknowledge that, and they have like departments and land acquisition guys specifically to work with land wholesalers. But the thing is it's super easy to filter them out. So if you send a builder a lot at 50,000 and there's a lot down the street at 47 on the market, they will never respond to you again. If you send them the first 3 deals at 35,000, they answer my call every time, right? So it's very important to that's the most important thing when you're working with builders is one, to only send it to one at a time. Because if you blast it out to 6 people, again, they'll never answer you again. You send it to your best one first at a high price. Even if he says 45,000 and you offer it to him at 50, you can send it to somebody else. But if he says, I'll take it, and you get an offer for 55, you better give it to him at 50, right? Because you only send it to one guy at a time, or else these people will never talk to you again. And again, this is the most important thing is getting that good relationship with a good builder, because once you have that, you can do hundreds of deals with him. You can partner with hundreds of people to do more deals with that same builder. So locking in that good relationship with the builder is one of the
so much more important than just making money on one deal. And also for everyone watching this, again, just think of it logically and as if you're the builder. Their goal is to make money and get the best deal possible and buy as many lots as they can. If you're the builder and you see one listed for 20 and you're offering yours at 30, they would obviously want to go buy the one at 20 rather than yours at 30 because they're going to make more money on the back end and it's a better deal. So you just got to think of it from their standpoint.
Dude, you're so right on this, because you got to remember D.R. Horton or Holiday Builders, they didn't get there by being stupid.
Yeah.
I see so many people getting all land, and then what they do is they try to, I'm just going to sell the deal for whatever the ARV is or whatever, and then they get burned. I always say like it's a pizza place. If you make really bad pizza, someone's going to go there. Yeah, you'll get their money. They're never coming back.
Yep.
If you have a good experience at a restaurant, you're always coming back, and that's the point. Same thing with houses. Like you can't really do this with land. I mean, I guess you can, but I'm like, hey man, like, did you make any profit on that deal I just sent you? Oh, dude, I made 70 grand flipping it. Awesome. Would you have any more? And once you just once they start making money, they're always going to come back to you.
Yeah.
And here's the big secret I found, which I don't think from what your experience is I haven't really been through it too much. I know, my dad Rick did, but like, let's say the market shifts. Okay. I'm not going to say anything bad's going to happen. Let's say real estate goes down. Who is the buyer going to go with? You guys who they've made tons of money with, or this new land wholesaling guy?
Yep. So we actually
So this is an example, actually. So we sent another campaign. We were selling these lots to our one main guy at 32,000 every single time. And this is when the market was hot. We were selling them at 32, 32, 32, 32, typically getting them for like 24, 25, making like 6, 7, 8 grand every single one. We got one for 15. We got one to sign at 15. So we sent it over to him and said, hey, don't pay 32. You've been doing repeat business. We love working with you. Take it at 30. We gave him a 2 grand discount for no reason because we appreciate his business. Lost 2 grand on the deal, right? Technically lost 2 grand. Still made a bunch of money and made more because we got a better deal. But then the market turned. 2 months later, he was only paying 25 for these lots. So anything that we could get at 25, 26, 27 wasn't a deal anymore. But because we were working with him and he could still squeeze out these little deals, he would bump his price up. If we got it at 25, he'd bump it up to 27. If we got it at 25, he'd bump it up to 27.5. If we got it at 25, he'd bump it up to 26,000. So we were still making deals over and over and over again, even in a tough market, because we gave him a discount for no reason.
One more kind of story about this, and this is honestly kind of, I don't know if Carson and I would be here right now without this, because he would probably be a senior in college right now. So when we first started out, we had this investor and he wasn't a builder, right? So our first builder that we did all the deals with, we did like 40 deals with him. And then after those 40 deals, he was like, listen, my quota's full, right? So when we still didn't really know what we were doing and stuff like that. So we found this realtor, Carson found him. We are very good friends with him now. And he said, hey, listen, I'm an investor. I know you guys are young college kids. You're good at what you do. I've seen how much deals you've given to Sun Life Homes. And kind of, you get a deal at 10K. It's worth 20. I'll buy it from you at 13, 14. I'm just going to close in 7 days. I'll close every single time, no matter what. I'm going to relist it, and I'm also going to make $5,000. So he said, okay. Our
no
price,
due diligence, no inspections, nothing.
But he said, if I give you the green light, I'll close on it no matter what. So we give him about 10 deals, right? And it was the same thing. Now we're getting them cheap, but we have the terms, right? We'll tell every seller, hey, no due diligence. I'm closing in 7 days. You say the word, right? So we did a couple deals. We have like 14 in escrow with him, and this is all Cape Coral deals.
And this is October of 2022.
The hurricane that hit Cape Coral hard hit. So the title companies go out of business for about 3 weeks. Everything shuts off. The market crashes. We knew on every single one of those deals he was going to lose money. We had to make the decision by November 1st if he was dropping out of school or not.
We had 40,000 in escrow for that week right before the hurricane. I think it was 40,000, right?
I think it was 50.
40 or 50. It was 40 or 50 grand. It might have been.
And we needed this money, right? Like to drop out, we needed this. He got back first day, closed on every single lot. Hey guys, sorry, I know you guys think I probably died. I just didn't have service. Cell phone towers have been down. Closed on every single lot. Since then, we've done probably 350 to 400 deals with him. To this day, the best relationships, business partners we've ever had. And that was just like.
And if he didn't go through and follow through on those lots again, I would still be in college. I wouldn't have been running any of our businesses together with him. Like it was honestly like a game changer for my whole life trajectory. And I'm so grateful that he closed on it. But yeah, it was crazy.
Dude, it's so important. But okay. So all right. So we know how to get the buyers.
Yep.
That makes sense. Obviously, buy boxes, we get it. So okay, now I get their buy box. Obviously, market to the buy box. So let's talk about the marketing side here.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I'm not dropping money in direct mail, if I'm brand new. So you're saying about 5,000 texts a week, a day.
So we recommend
2,000 a day.
Yeah, for beginners, like 50,000 a month, you're going to make deals, right? No matter if you have a decent builder in a decent market where you can actually send 50,000 messages in a month, you're going to make deals, bar none, right? If you know how to comp and you send 50,000 offers, you're making a deal.
People struggle to get leads, but first of all, before you even text, you pull a targeted list. So what you want to do in that targeted list on PropStream, so let's break it down a little bit. You want to pull this targeted list on PropStream off a few different filters to make sure that these sellers will want to sell their property for a good price. So you want to make sure that they've owned it for a long time. You want to make sure that they paid cheap for these properties. You want to make sure it's the exact square foot. So it's less than an acre or two and a little bit bigger than like 4,000 or 5,000 square feet so that it's a buildable lot that's smaller than an acre or two. So it's infill, something that a builder would buy. And then an individual or a mixed owner. And that's pretty much all you need. So basically you just
take whatever the builder tells you with their buy box. You plug it in when you pull your list. And then the one thing that you change is if they say they'll pay 45,000, you want to make sure that they purchased it for like 30,000 or less.
And owned it for a long time if you want to
You want them to be able to make money on it so that they say yes to your offer, right? Because someone that paid 100,000 is not going to take 40 grand, but someone that paid $1,800 might take 40 grand.
And these people that own these $50,000 lots, there are tons of them that paid 500, $1,000, 2,000, 5,000.
Long story short, so you get that list with the phone numbers and then you just text them all, right? You know what the builder will pay. You know these people got it for cheap. So if you want to make $5 grand, offer 40,000, 2,000 times a day. If you want to offer, and like a lot of people are probably unfamiliar with how it works and stuff. You're not texting them manually, right? You send all the text messages back. You'll get, if you send out 2,000, you'll have 200 responses. And then through those 200 responses, you just look for the one person that says yes. You get their email. You send that contract to them at the 40,000, let's say. Once they sign that contract will be assignable, which means you can assign their property or sell their property without ever owning it. Then you go back to the builder. You sell it for 45,000, and then you just do that as many times as possible, right? So that's kind of start to finish.
And people will be amazed these text conversations that we're having. There's nothing complex. There's no exact sales scripts or any crazy wording. Like it's literally, hey, my name is Carson. I'm looking to buy your property at blah, blah, blah street. Would you be interested in selling? How much? Then they text back, I want 20K. You text back, I can do 15. They say, okay, deal. You say, what's your email? Get their email. Send them the contract. You're done on the seller side. Email the builder. Sell it to him at 20. Email the title company, you make $5 grand for 2 text messages and 2 emails, right? Literally. And a lot of these deals, again, we don't even speak on the phone to them.
You're not even talking to them on the phone?
No. Well, it's crazy with the mail. This is why I like the mail.
Oh my gosh.
So after that Jacksonville deal, I'm like, I want to focus on mail. So we took we send out a 1-page letter, right? And we made it look like we spent a long time building this letter, right?
Yeah.
I just wanted to, I cross-reference what does a private equity real estate company letter look like, right? Like what does the IRS send? So it's just everything with the address and stuff. Here's an introduction to Carson and I. Here's our company. We want to buy your property. Attaches a contract. We have a 1-page contract that we send the sellers. We send them a contract auto-filled in with offers. So again, if the builder says they'll pay $45,000, we send out 2,000 contracts with an intro letter at $40,000. And you would be shocked. Half of our deals on mail, they don't even call in. They send us a photo signed, they mail it back signed, or they send us an email signed. And that's all. So the mail is the easiest because you don't have to do anything.
There was a point when we were living in Miami, we were living in the SLS Lux. It's a condo building there, and they have the mail in the lobby. And every morning, I'm not kidding you, it was like Christmas waking up, because it was probably 3 to 4 times a week. We would wake up with a $5,000 profit signed contract that we had to do no work for other than send the one campaign in our mailbox, literally 3 or 4 times a week. Like every single day, it was like Christmas going down there to see if we got a contract. They would sign it and send it back without speaking to you at all.
Wow. It's probably because the price point. Like you can't do that at houses, but I think at that price point, it's so much less. It's like selling a $30,000 car versus like a $500,000 car. You know, it's like I guess that's just way simpler.
It's crazy too because it didn't happen. It definitely happened with houses, but it didn't happen as much to where like if you look at Loxahatchee, Florida, in 2005, 2006, these lots for $5,000. They're for 275 right now. Port St. Lucie, they were $3,000 in 2017. Right now, they were 160 last year at some point, right? If Leland, there's a neighborhood called the Bluffs, they were 15K. Right now, they're 150, right? So like a lot owner could have got this literally 10 years ago for $5,000, and now we offer them 190, right? And so this is a big thing too that we look for when we pick markets. Is for some reason in some states, Florida being one of them, the assessed tax value is wrong, right? So if you look at a duplex lot in Lehigh Acres, this person could have paid $2,000. They get a letter every year that they have to see from the government that says, hey, your assessed tax value for duplexes is $4,800. We have a buyer at 60. So they bought it for $2,000. The government tells them it's worth $4,000, and we offer them 50. What do you think they're going to say, right? So when you find these markets based on a couple things, everybody says yes.
That's what I do.
So
I tell the seller, I'm like, hey, what's the tax assessed value in the land? They're like 30,000. I'm like, I mean, that's probably what I can do. And they're like, okay.
And
I just change.
Some states are different though. That's why we've always Texas, because Texas is verbatim accurate. So it's easy to send mail outs because it's like, okay, cool. Assessed is 50, I'm sending them 35. But these people get a letter from the government every year that if they don't see, they don't pay their taxes and they take the lot away. So you know they see it, and that's what the government says it's worth.
And another reason I think that these land sellers are a lot more susceptible to selling than houses is because you get the prices and the terms from the builder, where somebody will send a house contract to a seller and say, I need 180 days to close, and I'll put $50 earnest money. Our builder says, I'll put $1,000 down and I'll close in 21 days. So when a seller gets a contract that says $1,000 down, earnest money, and a 21-day close compared to a 6-9 month closing or whatever a lot of people try and do on houses and no earnest money deposit, they're a lot more susceptible to selling because they feel a lot more comfortable because it's better terms because we already have the terms from the builder, if that makes sense.
And as you get more comfortable with the builder, you can kind of push it, right? Like, hey, I know he'll put in $5,000 by the end of, if you sign right now, it's 1 o'clock, by 5, he'll have the $5,000 in because you know the builder so well that you know that's a lot they'll take. They'll send it, they'll close in 10 days, and you just relay their terms. And any feedback the builder gives you is just what you put back on the seller to talk down on price, right? So many times, like right now, it's gotten to the point where Carson and I wouldn't miss on a deal, right? If we send a contract out, it's going to be a deal unless there's something wrong with it. But we don't know what's wrong with lots in Pennsylvania. So if we send a contract at $20,000 and a builder says, hey, we'll pay 30, or well, we can only give you 18 because of the wetlands, the slope, and the power line here. I just call the seller back. Hey, sorry, when I had my guy run out there, there's a slope, power lines, and wetlands on this lot. I need to go down to 10. Right. So you just take their feedback if you ever need to go down in price.
And can still make a deal out of something that would normally fall through.
Right. That's because I'll be honest with you. I was halfway an idiot when I was 19 getting in wholesaling. But when a buyer's like, oh, you know, there's some structural issues here and I got to get a price reduction. I'm like, what? How do you know that? Well, the crack and the gap and the truss. I said, okay. And then I went back to the seller. I said the same thing. Even though I was 19, I was super dumb. The expert guy who's been in real estate for 40 years told me what to say. So you don't need to be an expert because your partner is the expert. So
exactly. And that's my biggest piece of advice to all of our students is they'll ask me, hey, Jackson, what do I do about this lot in Colorado? And I'm like, I could wholesale land for the next 30 years. If I got a lot in Colorado, the first thing I would do is I would call an agent in the area and I would ask him what it's worth. Because no matter what, no matter how long you do this, someone that's been doing land as a realtor
Boots on the
for
ground.
30 years will know more about the area than I would, right? So the first thing you do is you call an agent, ask them what it's worth, ask who you could sell it to if you don't have a buyer, because someone that actually knows the market will always know that specific market better than you do.
Yeah, and what I like about it is I've been snaked, stolen deals. I mean, I've been snaked by a lot of cash buyers.
Yep.
Because I mean, these are guys that are making maybe $500,000 a year, $1 million a year. Like these other companies, if they really screw you, you have a lot more leverage to go. They have assets you can go after.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this: individual people will screw you really bad on house deals. Not all the time, but it's happened. Trust me. It's very hard for a builder to go behind your back and do something really snaky. And there's a lot of damages you can get.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I like about like builders specifically.
Yep.
I'll let everyone be a warning though. You've probably seen this before. There's going to be a lot of these builder guys that say on Facebook, I'm a builder, and they're 17 years old.
We stay out of Facebook.
They're 17 years old, right?
For sale by owner.
They got the baby face.
For sale by owner.
Like I'd let everyone know, like find legitimate builders. Don't go after like these like 18-year-old kids. They're just trying to JV that. Be very, very like
a lot of daisy chains and a lot of stuff in that. And also just like heads up for everybody that is getting into it is even if it's on the market with an agent, especially for sale by owner, it's probably fake if it's vacant land. We've got scammed before. They have fake IDs. They get fake notaries. Like we literally had a closing go through FBI. But most that we don't touch for sale by owner. And unless it's an agent that we say, do you know the seller? We won't move forward. But that's also the easiest way to market if you don't want to spend $1 on marketing is like we did this the other day for a YouTube video, right? And I called a builder and I said, hey, what will you pay? He sent me back his buy box. It was just a screenshot and it said $23,000 and 33976. So I went on the market. The cheapest listing was $25,000, right? So I called any listing from $25,000 to $30,000 and I offered them all $20,000. Right. I had one say yes. And then the second one that said yes had 3 lots for sale with the same owner. Right. So we made 12 grand on those 4 lots. Right.
For free marketing.
But again, keep in mind, the lowest listing was 25. They said they'd pay 23. But if you can offer them 20 and they say yes, you still have the spread there. Right. So that's the cheapest way because that's just using Zillow. Dude,
beautiful, man. You're spitting a lot of game here. I mean, there's so much, more you can share. But like what I really like is, and that's how we got connected is you're like starting to actually do YouTube videos. And I'm like, dude, you got to stop making these stupid shorts on Instagram and start, letting people know who you are. Right. Cause you're riding around in the cool cars, but I'm like, just go on YouTube. Just give game. You don't need to do it from the Lambo. So I'll let everyone know they have an awesome YouTube channel. It's called Land Flipping with Jackson and Carson. I told them, why are you calling it land flipping? You're literally wholesaling it, but that's for a different day. But look up land flip. It's not there. The whole channel's not about, this is that's why I don't like these high level real estate guys. But you don't do this. It's like, just buy a lot for $5 million and then build it and then sell it for $30 million. And you really help people out who's like beginners on it too. And I really like what you're doing there. So I think you're posting more, which is awesome. And yeah, I'm pretty excited. Why is it Jackson? It should be Carson and Jackson. Carson's first before Jack's. Oh, whatever.
But probably should be. Yeah, we're not too good at the social media stuff yet.
Yeah.
No, your info is really good, so I absolutely love it. So again, I think everyone getting started, I think texting is a great option. Absolutely love texting. I'm really curious more about how you're doing those contracts and stuff, and it's just it's really cool. But yeah, your YouTube channel has got a wealth of knowledge. I think it's really cool. You guys are definitely giving more value out here and really teaching people wholesaling land the right way. So it's really exciting. So I guess my other question is, last thing is, I know you're making a lot of money on the wholesaling side. At what point does it make more sense just to not wholesale anymore and just like closing all the lots yourself and just put them back on the market?
So honestly, never. And
really? Go hand in hand.
So it's interesting because if you double close and then resell with an agent, you're going to pay the agent, 2 agents on the back end, and then you're going to pay for the closing and 2 closings if it's just a regular person. But if you have a builder that'll cover the closing cost with no agent, you're saving about 12 to 15%. So even if I take a 12 to 15% hit on the price, it makes more sense to wholesale always, right? So we buy and hold these lots now. We don't actually buy to resell. So like we buy probably 10 lots a month from our students, and we have been for quite some time now because we look for those areas that I was talking about earlier, like a Port St. Lucie, a Loxahatchee, that could go from $5 grand to $250. Because what happens is if a lot's worth $5 grand and a house is worth $400, And that house in 5 years goes from being worth 400 to 550, and the cost to build doesn't change. That lot went from being worth 5 to 155. So if it's within 30 minutes from a metro city, if it's on a paved street with newly built homes in the area, and we can get it less than 10 grand at less than half of market value, we buy it every time, right? Because we know in Florida, let's say, a lot that's buildable on a paved road with newly built houses will never sell for less than 5 grand ever again, right? So if we can get it at 2 and our property taxes are $8 a month and we can hold it for 10 years, I'd rather invest in what I know than the stock market, than other things, because this is what we know. And we know it has the opportunity to do 100x. And worst case, a buildable lot will never be worth less than 5 grand. And we just got it for 2, right? So that's kind of why we buy lots, is more of just land banking versus just like the buy and reflip, unless it's a big deal, right? So like we'll get a deal at 40 and we'll have an offer at 70. We have a realtor tell us it's worth 100 a couple times. Cool, we'll buy that. We'll just let it sit for 6 months, right?
And as far as like will we ever stop doing the assignment deals, is we're always going to be marketing for those good land deals, which is how we find developments. It's how we assign deals. It's how we buy and hold. It's how we buy and relist. The same process for all 4 of those things is getting a good land deal. So no matter what, we're always going to try to get a good land deal, and there's never going to be an easier way than assigning it, not putting any money up. So we're always going to do assignments.
We went to look for a new development deal. We got a deal, and it's in Marco Island again. We got it for 1-1. I called the lender. Hey, we're building the same house, same builder, same numbers. We need $3.2 million, right? Here's the cost of the house. Here's what we need. We're putting up $1 million. Cool. And he goes, hey, I have this guy, the Spanish guy. He's building a couple lots here. He'll buy it for 1.5, right? So just by doing a development deal based on what we've always done, we could have done a $400,000 assignment fee, probably $380 after closing costs, but just straight off that by calling the lender, right? So these development deals, everything we're doing in the future stems from this first thing of land acquisition. So we're never going to stop doing it. We're never going to stop doing our channels. And by doing this, it's going to funnel into big deals like that.
Exactly. I love it. I think that's really smart. In Florida locally, I'll close all these, but like if I'm doing Oklahoma, the risk is too crazy, man. So guys, you're a wealth of knowledge. I absolutely love this. We got to do some more videos and kind of get more information about you. But guys, you have an awesome channel, Land Flipping with Jackson and Carson. Check it on YouTube. You guys are also on Instagram if someone wants to DM you. What are your handles?
Carson Buys Land and Wiener Bros, Wiener Bros. But Carson Buys Land is our main one on there.
All right. Perfect. All right, Carson, Jackson, thank you so much for hopping on. Everyone check out the channel, and hopefully we'll talk soon.
Thanks,
I appreciate it.